Have you ever stopped to consider the actual experience of men living independently, especially in their later years? Many assume this life path is solely defined by loneliness or hardship, but the reality is much more complex and often inspiring. Today, we'll explore 6 profound truths about men who embrace this independent lifestyle. You may be surprised to see the deep well of strength, self-reliance, and peaceful wisdom that often flourishes in solitude. Welcome to Wisdom for Life divided by insightful perspectives. This isn't meant to portray a bleak scenario, but rather to offer an honest look at the freedoms and challenges unique to this journey in life. Stick with us until the end. By the time we reveal the last truth, your perception of this topic will be completely transformed. These insights might even offer a clearer understanding of your own life, your friends, or loved ones. Let's dive right in. Number 1, a life of self-reliance. One of the first truths about men who live alone without a woman is how much they learn to rely on themselves. It starts with the small things: cooking meals, doing laundry, keeping the house in order. At first, some men may stumble through these routines, especially if they grew up in a time when those tasks weren't expected of them. But with time, they adapt. And what emerges is a sense of quiet pride. The ability to take care of yourself day in and day out gives a man a certain confidence that no one can take away. Psychologists often talk about autonomy as one of the pillars of well-being, especially in older age. When you realize that you can handle life on your own, it builds resilience. Instead of feeling helpless or dependent, many men find a rhythm in their solitude that actually strengthens their sense of identity. They come to understand themselves in deeper ways because they're not always adjusting to someone else's needs or expectations. For example, think of someone like Thomas, a 72-year-old man who lost his wife years ago. At first, he struggled to even boil pasta without burning it. But now, he takes pride in preparing his own meals, trying new recipes, and even inviting a neighbor over for dinner once in a while. The act of managing his own household became more than survival. It turned into a form of personal growth and self-expression. And here's something important. Self-reliance doesn't mean isolation. In fact, men who live alone often become more deliberate about when and how they connect with others. Because they aren't relying on a partner to fill their social needs, they learn to reach out, to call friends, to join groups, or to spend time with family more intentionally. It shifts from passive companionship to active connection, and that choice makes relationships more meaningful. This truth about self-reliance is often misunderstood. Outsiders may see a man living alone and assume he's lonely. But inside, many of these men are discovering strengths they never tapped into before. It's not about what they lack, but about what they've learned to build within themselves. Number 2, a home that reflects his soul. Another truth about men who live alone without a woman is how their home becomes a mirror of their inner world. Without compromise, without someone else rearranging the furniture or deciding what color the curtain should be, a man's living space takes on his personality in a raw and honest way. Some homes may look simple and sparse, while others are filled with collections, hobbies, and memories. Every choice, from the photos on the wall to the chair he sits in each evening, tells a story about who he is and what he values. There is a kind of freedom in this. Older men who live alone are not decorating to please anyone but themselves. They may keep things practical, or they may finally indulge in the comfort they always wanted, but never prioritized. A worn recliner in the corner might not look impressive to anyone else, but to the man who sits in it, it represents peace, routine, and a sense of belonging. Psychology shows that our environment plays a powerful role in how we feel about ourselves. A space that feels authentic can lift the spirit, reduce stress, and even encourage healthier habits. Take Richard, for example, a 8-year-old man who spends his evenings surrounded by shelves of old jazz records. His home isn't fancy, but the walls echo with music and memories. That space is not about impressing visitors. It's about creating a world where he feels alive and content. When friends drop by, they aren't stepping into a showroom. They're stepping into Richard's heart. Some might say, a man's house without a woman's touch feels incomplete. But the truth is, it's simply different. It reflects individuality instead of compromise. It's not about whether the couch matches the rug, but whether the man feels comfortable, safe, and at ease. This kind of environment can be deeply healing, especially after years of sharing space where his preferences may have been secondary. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, a rhythm shaped by choice. When a man lives alone without a woman, his daily rhythm becomes entirely his own. There is no compromise about what time dinner is served, no negotiation about when the lights go out, and no debate over how a weekend should be spent. Instead, his schedule reflects his personal needs, habits, and moods. This may sound ordinary, but it carries a deeper meaning. A life shaped by choice brings a sense of ownership and independence that many older men quietly treasure. Waking up when the body naturally stirs, having coffee exactly the way he likes it, and filling the day with activities he chooses, these routines create a powerful sense of stability and identity. Psychologists often emphasize how routine supports mental health, especially in older age. A man who has full control over his rhythm experiences a kind of freedom that can reduce stress and encourage longevity. He is no longer bending to fit into someone else's preferences. And that freedom, though simple, has real value. Consider Thomas, a 72-year-old who spends his mornings tending to a small vegetable garden. He says it keeps him grounded, reminding him of the seasons and giving him a sense of progress each day. Nobody tells him he's spending too much time outside or suggests a different hobby. That rhythm, built on his own choices, strengthens his mental health and gives him quiet satisfaction. Of course, some men may fall into less healthy routines, staying up too late, eating carelessly, or isolating. That is the other side of freedom. The responsibility rests squarely on their shoulders. Yet many find balance because the rhythm itself becomes a comfort. In choosing how to live each day, they protect their sense of dignity and independence, even in the smallest details. It is not just about what they do, but about knowing they are the ones deciding. Number 4, a silence that speaks volumes. Living alone often means living with silence, and while some fear it, many older men discover it to be a gift. Silence is not just the absence of noise, but the presence of peace. Without the constant hum of another person's voice, or the background of television chatter chosen by someone else, a man learns to hear his own thoughts more clearly. He may notice the birds outside his window, the sound of his own breathing, or even the way his house creaks in the evening. What once seemed empty begins to feel full of meaning. This silence can be deeply restorative. Psychologists point out that quiet environments lower stress levels, help regulate blood pressure, and even allow for deeper reflection. For an older man who has lived through decades of busy workplaces, family obligations, and the competing demands of others, silence becomes a form of healing. It allows him to recharge and to reconnect with himself. Yet, silence is not without its challenges. There are moments when it grows heavy, when it feels like loneliness rather than peace. The difference lies in perspective. Some men fill the silence with music they love, others with prayer, or even with simple, mindful awareness of their surroundings. The key is that the silence belongs to them, and they can shape it into a source of comfort instead of an emptiness. Think of Robert, 68, who says his favorite part of the day is the quiet of early morning. He makes tea, sits by the window, and reads a few pages of a book while the world is still asleep. For him, silence is not an absence, but a companion. It gives him space to reflect on his life, to savor the present, and to feel grateful for the calm that surrounds him. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5, a freedom to shape your own time. One of the overlooked truths about men who live alone without a woman is the way time takes on a different shape. Without the rhythms of another person's habits to follow, a man finds himself free to decide when to rise, when to eat, and when to rest. For some, this can feel strange at first, almost unsteady. But over time, it becomes a profound kind of liberty. Time becomes something more personal. He can stay up late watching an old Western without worrying about waking anyone, or wake early and take a quiet walk before the sun comes up. Meals can be quick and simple, or long and thoughtful. Days can be planned with structure or allowed to unfold without pressure. This freedom may sound small to an outsider, But for a man who has lived decades on the schedules of work, family, and obligations, it feels like reclaiming ownership of his life. Psychologists note that having control over one's time is closely tied to happiness and well-being in older age. It gives a sense of autonomy, a reminder that even in later years, life is still yours to shape. Some men even say this freedom makes them feel younger, as though the heavy expectations of the world have finally lifted. Consider Gerald, 72, who says his happiest discovery was realizing he didn't need to keep a strict routine anymore. If he wanted to spend the whole afternoon tinkering in the garage, he could. If he wanted to take a nap after lunch, no one complained. This flexibility made him feel at ease in his own skin. His days became less about meeting demands and more about enjoying possibilities. Living alone, a man learns that freedom with time is not about wasting it, but about savoring it. It is about finding joy in the hours that once felt controlled and making peace with the idea that the most valuable schedule is the one you write for yourself. Number 6, a resilience that grows in solitude. Another truth about older men who live alone is how solitude itself becomes a kind of training ground for resilience. At first, the quiet might feel heavy, even a little unsettling. But as days turn into weeks and months, many men find that this quiet teaches them patience, steadiness, and a deeper ability to manage life on their own terms. Resilience is not only about facing crisis. It shows up in the small daily acts of managing one's life. Fixing a leaky faucet without calling anyone, learning how to pay bills online when technology feels foreign, cooking a meal when ordering takeout would be easier. Each of these moments, though ordinary, builds a quiet strength. Over time, a man begins to trust himself more. He realizes he doesn't need constant reassurance or help to get through the challenges of daily life. This kind of resilience also helps emotionally. When loneliness creeps in, he learns not to panic. He might reach for a good book, call an old friend, or take a walk outside. These coping strategies are not dramatic, but they are powerful. They keep the spirit steady and remind him that solitude doesn't have to mean despair. Psychologists often say resilience is the ability to recover quickly, and for many men living alone, that recovery becomes second nature. Take Samuel, 68, who once feared retirement would leave him empty. At first, his quiet apartment felt like a burden, but as he learned to care for himself, from doing laundry to handling small repairs, he felt a new confidence blooming. He says that each task he mastered added a brick to the foundation of his independence. That foundation gave him peace of mind. Resilience in solitude becomes one of the greatest gifts. It transforms fear into confidence and silence into strength. It assures a man that no matter what comes, he has the ability to endure, to adapt, and to continue forward with dignity. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Concluding reflections. The path of living alone is frequently misunderstood. It is far from the bleak picture many people assume. While it certainly includes its own set of challenges, it simultaneously unlocks strengths, insights, and significant freedoms that often go unacknowledged. The points we've discussed reveal that choosing solitude doesn't equate to loneliness. Instead, it can foster resilience, personal growth, and the unique opportunity to design a life perfectly aligned with your own needs. If you are a man on this journey of independence, understand this. Your path is defined by possibility, not by absence or lack. You possess the capability to manage your health with discipline, keep your mind engaged, actively nurture friendships, and approach the world with curiosity. You have the liberty to curate a home environment that is a true extension of yourself, allowing you to live each day without compromise. These observations are more than just facts. They are a powerful affirmation of the dignity and strength that mature age brings. Society often fails to recognize the quiet power of older, independent men, but your life proves that self-reliance is a profound source of power. Every decision you make builds a life rich in meaning and confidence. You are not passively waiting for life to unfold. You are actively shaping it. And that is truly something to be proud of. Join the conversation. We appreciate you spending time with us today. We would genuinely love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below sharing one key insight you gained and how you plan to integrate it into your life. Your thoughts are incredibly valuable and provide great motivation and encouragement for our work. If you found this discussion helpful, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Your support is essential for us to keep creating content designed to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to connecting with you in our next video.